So we're leaving Denia. It was short but sweet. It's a nice spot. So it says the depth here is 2.1, which means we're 15 centimeters below our keel is the seabed. So let's get out to the middle of the channel and hopefully it'll be a little bit deeper.
Hi, I'm Laure, and this is Luke. After years of the city life, we decided to take the path less traveled and live upon the waves. So we did it. We bought a tiny floating home, Talia.
Join us as we discover the Med, push our limits and learn how to sail in the process. That's right, we're only just getting started. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow us as we transition to life on the sea.
After sailing along a portion of the Mediterranean coast of mainland Spain, this episode sees us take off the training wheels and make our first offshore sail to Ibiza.
We arrived to Cala Sardinera here in Zabia. We tried to moor to all the buoys here in the Cala. It was a bit of a nightmare. I had to dive twice because I lost the hook, and yeah, it wasn't easy, especially because there's a bit of swell. It's a bit difficult to grab the painter from the buoy, but we are good now, and Luke and I, we are kind of exhausted. I think it took us like what, an hour or an hour and a half.
Well, first of all, we got one that was too far out and even more rolly than where we are here. The second time we went in for a mooring ball much closer to the rock face in front of us here. The problem is we got down a couple of times to 2 meters of depth below the waterline, and 2 meters of depth below the waterline leaves us with what, 15 centimeters of space between the keel and the seabed, and that was on top of rock as well, so that wasn't very comfortable.
Indeed.
We're on this one now, and I'm not sure if we're going to stay here because it's very rolly. We're in 11 meters of water. The wind is hitting us on the bow, as it should, but we've got swell hitting us on the beam, and it's not super comfortable. Now, in theory, this should be a nice, comfortable moment for us, but I think that luck wasn't really on our side, and maybe we've been a bit too premature to go out, not sure, but following that storm, the sea state is still pretty rolly. I think we've made the executive decision that we're going to seek refuge in the marina of Zavia and stay there the night and try to come back here tomorrow and see if it improves much. It's not great. I'm actually feeling a bit seasick just sitting here. Yeah, I think it's going to be a marina for us tonight.
Javia, or Zabia as it's known locally, is the most beautiful little resort town just south of Denia. Free from high-rises, this place has a charming, relaxed holiday atmosphere. With gold sandy beaches and impressive rocky cliffs melting into the sea, its ambience really helped take the edge out of our first attempt in an anchorage.
We're this close from having an emotional moment. So it's exhausting when you're constantly having to compensate for the motion of the boat with your legs, the movement on deck as you're trying to get on the right mooring ball. But I didn't do 20% of the physical effort that Laure had to today to fish out the painter on the mooring ball 3 or 4 different times, losing the
hook,
the boat hook twice, and having to dive in the water to go and collect it.
That's how you learn though, I guess.
But exactly. But then saying, okay, we want to take refuge in the nearest marina, and coming here to Javia Marina, it's just a total 360. This place is magnificent. It is without doubt the most beautiful place we've visited so far. The mountains behind us, the little marina here is just perfect. It's spectacular. You know, when you've gone through the challenge we had earlier this afternoon and then come into this, it's just, you can't help but feel very, very lucky. So today is one of the rare occasions where it's a little bit overcast here. We're taking full advantage of the overcast day, and we have a mountain in front of us that we want to climb or hike. If it was a normal sunny day here, we would struggle way too much.
Clinging to the steep rock face of the Cap de Saint-Anthony are a collection of somewhat treacherous hiking paths. The first we took to Calatango had us questioning if it was actually an official hiking path or designed by mountain goats. The second path took us to the summit of Cap de Saint-Anthony, with impressive views stretching all the way out to IBIZA.
We've made it to the Mirador. I love the word Mirador. It's a precise translation in Spanish as it is in English. Mira, look, and door, at least in French, is out. So it's a Spanish-French
word.
Maybe.
You sure of you?
Well, I don't know the exact etymology, but lookout is what we would call it in English.
The following morning we made another attempt at the mooring buoys in the Bay of Sardinara with the intention to stay the night.
Hey guys, so we made it to Cala Sardinera, and this time around the swell and the wind is considerably kinder than the first time around. So we spent 2 very, very nice days in the marina in Javier, but unfortunately we don't have a limitless budget, so we have to make our way to the anchorages every now and then. Looking forward to heading east. We hear that the anchorages over on the islands and further east are a lot more welcoming and a lot more calm, but so far so good.
It's okay.
Yeah, this one here is good. I'd like it if there was maybe a little bit less swell. There's hardly a breath of wind, but a little less swell would be really nice.
Well, that's how it is, right? You can't control the sea or the wind or...
She's capricious.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are going to, well, at least...
She's looking at the marita boat just behind us.
No. First night on anchor, or first night in an anchorage on a mooring buoy, I don't think is a great idea to get on the booze.
No, especially because tomorrow morning we have to wake up quite early.
That's true, because we're heading over to Ibiza tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes. Alright guys, speak to you later.
As the night progressed, the swell increased. It seems that the absence of wind and the presence of swell alone makes for a rolly night. With no wind, Talia would float all around the mooring buoy and happily take waves on her side, meaning she'd list from side to side all night. Back to the marina we went. We had our first major offshore passage the following day and couldn't afford a sleepless night.
Up before the boats the following day, we set off in the direction of the sunrise.
So after a disappointing failed attempt at the Cala Sardinera last night, we made it until just after midnight. It was just way too rolly, so we went back again to the marina. It's embarrassing and disappointing, but that was just impossible. It might have been easier if we were able to lay out a stern anchor and put our bow into the swell, but no anchoring over there. Now it's just after 7 in the morning and we are making our way across to Ibiza.
Yay! Finally!
Finally. A long journey. We've had a couple of strange things happen on the journey. The scariest part was a fishing trawler that clearly had some sort of net behind it. They were going too fast for us to get in front of, and when I went to veer off from behind, he positioned himself in a way that I couldn't avoid so much, so I ended up going as far aft of his stern as possible to avoid catching any net. But the depth sounder here started freaking out and registered 3 meters under the hull, which is unusual when we're in 700 meters of water depth. So that was obviously a bit scary. I don't think we picked up any net, but clearly something happened.
So another thing that Luke didn't tell you is that we lost the handheld VHF in the water, and so we went to fish it out. After the 3rd tentative we made it by hand. Luckily Luke is good at controlling the boat, so we made it quite easily. Unfortunately there was another casualty, the hat, so he lost it with the wind. I have to say it's kind of my fault because I was hugging him and poof, it went away, but that's okay. It's okay, we have a second hat. It was one from Colombia, not too expensive. We'll get another one. Also, this is the moment where we start to see Ibiza quite well, and behind me is the mainland of Spain, which is quite, let me see, yeah, I can still see it a bit, but barely compared to Ibiza. It means that we are almost there. I mean, like 3 or 4 hours away. So, so far, so good.
So it's only appropriate that on our first passage across from the mainland of Spain to Ibiza that we're here at Esvedra Island. It's the first island you come to as you're crossing over to the main island of Ibiza. And Esvedra is very, very popular with superstition and tradition and history. And in fact, one of the earliest written accounts of Esvedra is in Homer's Odyssey, where mermaids and sea nymphs try and lure and seduce Odysseus from his boat. Can assure you, there will be no seduction of me by mermaids or sea nymphs, not while Laure is on watch. Morning guys, here we are in Cala d'Ort in Ibiza. It's a strange name, so a strange pronunciation. It was our first night on anchor, and I got to admit, it's a weird feeling putting all your confidence in a piece of steel and some chain. But we did it. I was up 4 different times during the night to check that we weren't getting too close to any of the boats in the anchorage, and to check that we weren't dragging. The anchor held up well. We held up pretty well as well. We both got a bit of sleep, which is good. First day in a beautiful anchorage, and it is really magnificent here.
We spent 2 nights at this breathtaking anchorage to take stock of our first passage and settle into island life. With each step we make, we learn more about this beautiful lifestyle, deepen our respect for nature, and break down the boundaries of what we thought we were capable of. We are excited for the next step and look forward to taking you with us.